Yeah. So our important part is data. So we didn't have enough data in 80s and 90s. So the first concept of machine learning and all were started in 70s. So to implement those, we needed a lot of data. So in this past 5 to 6 years, we have multiple websites and we have a lot of data we can work with. And is data is only the case that we lacked in the 80s and 90s? Yeah, this is also important. We did not have the not about software, the processing power. So what we lack primarily, we cannot tell it is data. The first priority goes to processing power. Okay, by a laborious task, we can find the like we can collect the data, like not as more as recent days, but we can the data should have been available at that time. The main issue was also the processing power. So these two are abundant in like from 2010 or in the 21st century. The processing power has been increased exponentially from 90s to 2020, right? So that is the reason why we are using more machine learning and artificial intelligence recently. Okay, so everybody is with me, right? Everybody understood why we are using machine learning recently, not in the 90s or 80s. So everybody got it right. So again, let's go back to our project. So first, let us see what are the paths, like learning methods in machine learning. We have three methods. Can anybody tell me what kind of learning? There are three types of learning in this machine learning part. Let me tell you the first one. Okay, supervised. And next thing is unsupervised. Yeah, and if last thing is reinforcement learn. So what is so let me ask you this. So this is our data, right? So this is our data set. So will this come? We are using this data set to generate an algorithm to generate an model, right? So will this come under supervised learning, unsupervised learning, or reinforcement learning? Yeah, yeah, yes. Yeah, everybody is correct. It is supervised learning. So why am I calling this process supervised learning? So what is the difference between data in supervised, unsupervised? Yeah. Let me get the name who had it first. Yeah, I'm not able to see him, but yeah, the main important thing is in supervised learning we have labeled data. So the example of the labeled data is our data set here. Can I get an example of unlabeled data? Simple example. Yeah. What is a simple example of unlabeled data? Can anybody tell me the simple example for unlabeled data? No one? Okay. Yeah. Recording of many voices. A basic. So let me ask you a question. Is your a picture of a person, is it a labeled data or unlabeled data? What will it come under? Labeled or unlabeled data? Labeled data. So how is a picture of a person a labeled data? So let me just uh, take out a picture of a landscape. Images. So yeah. So how can you say that this picture is a labeled data? Yeah. I need answers. So I'll point you to a part of the picture. So what is this? What is this called? This in the background. Mountain, right? How do you know that that is a mountain? Is it labeled anywhere that this is a mountain in this picture? No. Then how do you people know that it is a mountain? Somewhere in your childhood, somebody told you that, like somebody showed you something and told you that this is a mountain. So you through experience, you remember that this is a mountain, right? So can you say that this picture is a labeled data or unlabeled data? So this picture will come under unlabeled data because there is no labeling in the pixel. Pixels will just have the colors, but there is no information that this is a mountain and there is no labeling in that, right? So yeah, this will come under unsupervised learning. Got it? So what is reinforcement learning? Can anybody can give me an example of reinforcement learning? Example of reinforcement learning. Yeah, yeah, I need an example. So yeah, uh, let me give you an example for that. Okay, reinforcement learning is nothing but you learn it through through multiple experiments. Let me give you an example. You are in a room and it is unlit. The room is not lit, so you cannot see anything in that room. So what you have to do in that room is you have to switch on the light. You don't know where the light switch is. So what will you do in that? So you'll just choose a random direction and go there, right? So you'll just choose a random direction and go there and check if there is a switchboard or not. So yeah, after checking that, you'll come back to the previous position and will you go to the same direction again? Yes or no? After just, yeah, no, right? So you're using previous output as your input and you're making a assumption that not an assumption, you'll know that there is no switch here. So using the previous data, you have some experience, and after that, you'll just be going through different direction until you find a switch, right? Yes or no? So that comes under reinforcement learning. Mostly it is used in robotics and all. Okay. So yeah, everybody understood what is supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning, right? Yes, yes or no? Yes. Good. So let's go to supervised learning. So mainly we'll talk about supervised learning here. So in supervised learning, we have two types: regression and classification. So what is regression? So is this data a regression or does this data come under regression or classification? So yeah, I'll just select a column here. So here, let me go here. So in this data, we are going to predict, let us tell that we are going to predict GDP using this data. So what are the values of this GDP data? Continuous values, right? So regression is nothing but continuous values. So when there are continuous values, you will be using regression. Okay. So let me just create data here. So I'm just creating a data set here. We'll have age and alive or not. So ages 15, 17, 90, 160 and 170. Okay. And alive or not, is a 15-year-old person alive or not? Let us generalize this. Okay, I need answers. 15 years, alive or not? Yes. Okay. 17 years, alive or not? I need answers. Alive, right? Yes. 160 years, alive or not? No, right? No. 170 years. We are talking about a human person. Okay. 170 years, alive or not? No, right? So let's go to 100 years. So is this person alive or not? Yes, maybe. So using this data, we need to predict a person is alive or not. So can I use regression in this? Can I use regression? Why not? So in the end, we have to predict whether person is alive or not sure. So how many classifications are here in this? 3, right? Yes or no or maybe, right? So this is called as classification. Okay. Everybody understood what I'm telling, right? Everybody is with me? Everything clear? Yes. Okay. So regression and classification is done. Okay. We'll go to regression here. Okay. So in regression, so in regression, what regressions do you people know? Like linear, we have multiple regressions, right? Can anybody tell me something? Linear, okay, multivariable, linear, and polynomial. Okay, let's just stop it here. So these are 3 regressions: linear regression, multiple variable linear regression, and polynomial linear regression. So how will you classify your data if it is linear regression, multiple variable linear regression, or polynomial regression? How will you be able to classify? Yeah. Can anybody tell me how will you able to classify your data into linear, multivariable linear, and polynomial? Depending on the features, right? Features, and the important thing in machine learning is you have to draw a graph every time. Okay. If you okay, let me give you an example here. Let me open Jupyter Notebook. Yeah, depending on the features. So what is the difference between linear and multiple variable linear regression? Yeah, can anybody tell me? Linear and multiple variable linear regression? I'm not getting any answers. Okay, linear has only one feature and multiple variable linear has n number of features, right? So yeah, let me go to 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. Okay, let's go to linear regression here. This code. So knowing how to plot your data is also important in machine learning. Okay, so let me go down. So yeah, when you plot between two variables, like let us assume that our data is between x and y, and the x and y data is of a regression data. So when we plot, if the data comes like this, so is it does it resemble a straight line or a curve? This graph, yeah, straight line, right? A straight line with one feature and one predicting feature. So what will you turn that under? Multiple variable linear regression or linear regression? Linear regression, right? Okay. So yeah, let's talk about linear regression and multiple variable linear regression. Okay. So give me 1 minute. Yeah, let's go to linear regression. So linear regression with one variable. So can anybody tell me what is the equation of a line? Generalized equation of a line, straight line. Y is equal to mx plus c, right? Yeah. Okay. So uh, let me just open a paint here. Okay. So I'll be drawing a data, a graph. Okay. Okay. And these are the points. 1 minute. Let me just uh, so let us assume these are the points. So let us assume these are points. Yeah, I know that PPT is from Andrew NG's course. I'm not going to use that totally. I just needed that PPT to just show you the equations. Okay. So yeah, this is a graph. This is a data. Let us assume this is X and this is Y. Okay. So this is the data points here. So what is machine learning doing using this data? So what we are doing here is we are generalizing this data using a line. So let us assume this is a line. So this line equation is y is equal to mx plus c, right? So let us assume that line we need to, so this is a line. So we are generalizing these points. So these points, if you generalize those can form a line, right? Yes or no? This shape is nearly similar to line, right? Yes or no? Yes, right? So what we are doing is, so our data ends still here. Okay. So our data ends still here. So we are generalizing this data into a line. So I want to predict the next point, where the next point will appear. Okay. So what I'm going to use is, I'm going to use this line to predict the point. So after this point, I'm predicting that the next point will be here. Yes or no? Yes, right? The next point will be here. So these are the coordinates of the point. So am I 100% accurate in this prediction? Yes or no? No, right? So then why are we using machine learning then when it is not 100% accurate? The important thing to remember in machine learning is accuracy. The more the accuracy, the more we can trust a model, right? So we need not to predict data 100% sure. The accuracy minimum should be greater than 70% or 80. It depends on your problem statement. Okay. So how are we predicting uh, this point? And first thing, how are we going to know about the accuracy? 1 minute. Let me just let me open thing. And again, just let me draw a graph. So yeah, this is a graph. Yeah, let's assume these are the points. Okay, so I'm using a linear regression. This is x. 1 minute. So this is x and this is y, and this is my line. Okay, everybody understood till here, right? Yes or no? So what we are trying to calculate here is the cost function. So what is the cost function? What for what we'll be using the cost function? Can anybody tell me? So cost function is used to calculate the error between your predicted value and the actual value. Okay. So what do you think the error? So this is the predicted value, right? Yes or no? This point is the predicted value. And what is the actual value? This is the actual value. Sorry. This is actual value. So what is this point's predicted value? Where can you find the predicted value in this image? Can anybody tell me? Yeah, on the line. So here, this point is your predicted value. Got it? So the difference between the predicted value and the actual value is your error. So how will you able to calculate the error now? Can anybody tell me? Yes, the difference between your predicted value and your actual value is your error. So we have multiple cost functions here. We have mean squared error, root mean squared error, and so on. For now, let's talk about mean squared error. What happens in mean squared error is, first we'll take the difference between the predicted value and the actual value. I'll just let me show the cost function here. Yeah, this is the cost function. Okay. So what is h naught of x is nothing but your line. Is h naught of x is nothing but your y. Okay. So h theta of x is your predicted value minus your actual value. So we are squaring this output and taking a mean of this. Okay. So first we'll talk about linear regression and later we'll talk about extra tree regression. Okay. So everybody understood what is cost function, right? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes, right? So cost function is nothing but difference between your actual value, your predicted value and your actual value. So what is mean squared error? If you take a root of this j theta, you'll get the root mean squared error. Mean squared error is nothing but first you'll take the mean between, first you'll square the difference between your predicted value and actual value and then take the mean of it. So it will go in the opposite direction. MSE, mean squared error. So S first comes S, right? First you'll square your difference and then you'll take the mean. So that is your cost function. Understood everyone about your cost function? So yeah, now you got your cost function. That is well and you good. So now you can tell how your model is, how much the accuracy of your model is. So how are you going to find? So I told you that the line we are using is y is equal to mx plus c, right? Right. So how are you going to predict the values? How are you going to, let me just reopen the paint. Okay, let me just draw a graph again. Okay, so yeah, let me draw the data. Yeah, Sumit told find the coefficients of M and C, right? Okay. So let us assume these are three lines. Okay, these are three lines with which we are going to predict the data. So what do you? How can you tell between these three lines which is the best fit for the data? Yeah, these three lines have coefficients M and C. I can find this M and Cs of these three lines. One is covering more points. Yeah, Ria is right. So the line with which the minimum cost function is the line which is best fit. Okay, let us assume that this line has minimum cost function. So our final line is going to be this. So important thing is the cost function. So how are you going to find the best fit lines coefficients? So mx plus c, right? So let us assume that m is theta 1 and c is theta naught. So let me go through this. Okay. So how are you going to find the slope and the coefficient? Can anybody tell me the algorithm? Nobody knows that. How are you going to find the best values of M and C? By using gradient descent. So the thing is there are two ways you can find. One is gradient descent and another one is normal equation. For now, let us just talk about gradient descent here. Okay. So let me show you how gradient descent works. Okay. So how gradient descent works is first we'll calculate the cost function. Okay. First we'll calculate the cost function of, let me write it here. First we'll calculate the cost function. Cost function. Okay. And then the slope. Okay. So let me open paint again. So we have multiple lines, right? So let me draw graph here. Here we'll have cost function versus theta 1. That is nothing but the slope. So what is our aim here? First, let us draw the graph. Okay. Let us draw the graph of the cost function. What is the cost function? Let me open up the cost function here. So what is the cost function here? 1 by 2m, the squared, the MSE, right? Here are the cost function here is MSE. Okay. The cost function is MSE here. So we are going to draw a graph between cost function and our slope. So how will be that graph? Can anybody tell me how the graph will be? So this equation is in the form of y is equal to x square. Similar to this, right? Yes or no? So cost function is a squared equation and slope is a single variable, right? Okay. So let us assume that it is a parabola for now. Okay. So which value of this parabola will you be needing? Which slope? So what is our main aim? To find the best fit line, right? Find the best fit line. Okay. So is this best fit line is this, let us assume that A point has a slope of theta A, B has a slope of theta B, and C has a slope of theta C. So which theta will be the best, which will be the best slope, the best cost function here? C. Why C? Why are you choosing the theta value of C? So for now, let us assume the line equation that we are going to predict is y is equal to mx. There is no coefficient here. So y is equal to mx, graph is will be this, because we are plotting against cost function and m is nothing but theta 1. Okay. Yeah. So in this last point, the cost function is the least, right? Yes or no? The cost function is least in this point. So we are going to prefer the theta c slope. So in the end, our final line will be, can anybody tell me the final equation of the line? Y is equal to, what is the slope of the final best fit line here? Can anybody tell me? Nobody is understanding. Yes. Our mx, what is slope here? Which slope did we choose from this plot? What did we choose? Theta A, theta B, or theta C? Theta C, right? So our final equation is y is equal to theta C x. So this will be our best fit line. Got it? Everybody understood? So can anybody tell me? So you everybody can see the graph and you can tell that theta C is the best fit, right? So how can you go to theta C directly? Explain the plot again. So yeah, I'll explain the plot again. Okay. How to just erase all of it? Okay, I'll explain the plot again. Okay, so I'll start again. So what are we using? First thing, our aim is to find the best fit line, right? Best fit line. With we already have the equation mx, right? Y is equal to mx. So what do we need to find? We need to find the m, right? Which is the slope. Let us assume that this is theta 1. Okay. So what is the cost function here that we are using? Mean squared error. Mean squared error is a quadratic. This is in the form of x square, right? Let me show you the mean square. So how is it? This is in the form of x square, right? Got it? Manasvi, are you getting it? Yes or no? Yes. So what are we going to do is we have the cost function for now. So what are we going to do is we are going to have multiple slopes here. We are selecting. Let us assume that we have from theta naught to theta n slopes. We have multiple lines. So what we are going to use this is for theta 0. Let us assume that for theta 0 the cost function is here. Okay. Got? Theta is nothing but these are the lines that we are going to predict. So for theta, you have equations, mathematical equations for how to finding the theta. For now, let's not go too deep into the math. So we have limited time here. Okay. So let us assume that we have a lot of thetas. Theta is nothing but the slopes. For that, so let us assume that we have y is equal to theta naught x to y is equal to theta nx. So these are the multiple lines which has cost functions. Every line has cost function, right? Yes or no, Manaswini? Are you understanding it? Everybody is understanding this, right? So we have multiple lines with multiple cost functions. So using that data, we are drawing a plot between the cost function and your slopes, theta. So the equation is will look like this. So our aim is to find the line, best fit line. What is the necessity for best fit line? The least cost function, right? The least, where will be the least cost function? This, right? This is the least cost function. So we are going to find this least cost function here and the corresponding slope. Let us assume that corresponding slope is theta 5. So theta 5 corresponding slope will have the least cost function. So in the end, the best fit line is y is equal to theta 5 x. Okay, everybody understood how we are going to find the best fit line in gradient descent? Okay, yes or no? I need answers. Yes or no? Yes, right? So how do you think we'll go here? Let us assume that we started here. Because this is a graph everybody can visualize, we are going to tell that this point, this specific point is the has a least cost function, right? So how are you going to go to this point? Can anybody tell me how? So how are we going to go is, so this is an equation, right? This is in the form of y is equal to mx square, right? Mx square. Small steps, like how? Like, so let us okay, small steps is a kind of a right answer. So this equation is y is equal to mx square. Okay, got it? So what happens if I differentiate this point, this equation? I differentiate with respect to, let us assume that the values of here ranges from theta 0 to theta n. I differentiate with respect to theta 0. So what will happen? Let us assume that theta 0 is here. So you'll get the slope of the line, right? You'll get the slope of the line at theta 0. Everybody is with me till here. So you are going to differentiate this curve. So what is the slope of the theta? Let us assume this is theta naught, this is theta 1, and this is theta 2. So what is the value of theta 1 slope? Some variable, right? Some number, right? So what is the value of the slope of theta 2? Some variable. And what is the value of slope of theta 1? Can anybody tell me? Yeah, Sumit, you are right. So the tangent for this point is like this, right? So this tangent is parallel to y-axis, x-axis. This is x-axis and this is y-axis. So what the point we need has a slope of 0, right? 0 or very close to 0. Okay. So we have to find a point where the slope is 0. So how are you going to find that? So for that, what we are going to do, we are going to choose a random point. Okay, let me clear this. So everybody is with me till here, right? So is this part interesting or boring? I need answers. So that boring. Okay, okay. For some people it is interesting and for some people it will be boring. Not everybody will be liking maths. So yeah, what is our aim now? To find the theta, for to find the best fit slope of the best fit line, to find the to differentiate our equation and find the theta where the slope is 0, right? So let us assume that we'll start from here. We'll start from here, and we are taking the steps of length, assume x. So let us assume that we are taking steps of x, length x. So the next, let us assume that the after first iteration we are going to go here. Okay. After second iteration we are going to come here. So in the end we are going to find the slope, right? Where find the theta where the slope is 0, right? So everybody understood till here? We are going to take small steps until we find a part where our slope is near to 0. Okay. So what is the important thing that you have to in this part is the length of the steps that we are taking, right? So it shouldn't be too large, because if I take the steps too large, you're going to overshoot the data. You're going to go here direct. If it is too small, it is going to take many steps to find. Okay. So the steps that we have to take, the length of the steps should be considerable, so that it shouldn't be either too large or too small. Okay. Everybody understood, right? How gradient descent works? Let me recap how gradient descent works. Gradient descent will find the best fit line. How? It will will be using a plot. We'll plot against cost function and our slopes, and by differentiating our equation of the parabola and finding the slope and using small steps and finding the slope of each point in our parabola, we are going to find if the slope is near to 0, then our cost function is less. So using this thing, we are going to find the best fit line. Everybody understood, right? Yes or no? Everything clear till here about gradient descent? So yeah, everything is well and good. The length of the proper length, actually that will be automatically decided by your library, because to find the proper length it is a lot of math. Your library will automatically find the best fit the step length. I'll just show you the equation. You don't have to understand it. Even if you don't understand it, that is not a problem. I'll just show you the equation of gradient descent. 1 minute. So this is the equation of your gradient descent. Everybody can see this, right? So this alpha is your learning rate, nothing but your step size. And this partial differentiation J is your cost function. Okay. So theta is a random value that we have taken in our, theta J is a random value that you have taken in your parabola. Got it? So this is the equation that you're to totally explain this equation, it will take a lot of time. Okay, if we have time after all the session, I'll explain you all the math. For now, let us everybody understood how gradient descent works, right? It will take small steps to find the best fit line where the slope is nearly equal to 0. Okay, so yeah, everything is well and good. So you can tell there is a point, right? So if we can do this directly by visualization, we can directly visualize our data and just find the cost function, right? I can just using the plot functions, I can just directly visualize the data. 1 minute. Let me go to Jupyter Notebook here. It is not open. So for now, just say this. We can just visualize the data and just point where the cost function is least, right? So why are we using gradient descent? Can anybody tell me? So from tomorrow, everybody will be using plots instead of machine learning, right? It is easy. Yes or no? So from tomorrow, everybody will be using plots. Yeah, there is a limit for your computer to visualize, right? So this is a simple line. So this here y is equal to mx plus c. Here we only have one feature, right? Okay. So let me open your data set here. So for one feature, 1 minute. So one feature, your plot is like this. When our line is y is equal to mx plus c, you have to find your m and c, right? Yes or no? Yes or no? You have to find the slope and the coefficient, right? Not coefficient, you have to find the c, the constant. So what will the graph look? It will be like this, right? Cost function. How many axes will the graph have? Yeah, how many axes will the graph have? Two axes. You people are wrong, because cost function is one axis, right? And your m is one axis, and you also need to find your constant. For that you'll have extra axis c. So how many dimensions are here? How many dimensions? 3, right? So for two features, your graph will look like this. Yes or no? Your graph will look like this, right? So here j is your cost function, theta 1 is your slope, theta naught is your constant. Yeah, the graph will look like this. So this is a little bit harder to visualize, right? Yes or no? So so till now we've talked about linear regression. So your equation is y is equal to mx plus c. So so let us go to multiple variable regression, and I'll come back to this point. So how do you think your multiple variable linear regression will look like? The equation. I'll just show you the equation here. How many features will multiple variable regression have? N number of features, right? So the equation will be, let me just open the equation here. I think I'll just write the equation in the paint. I think there is I'm not able to find it. So everybody understood till linear regression how gradient descent works and how the visualization works, right? Yes or no? Yes or no? I need answers. Yes, good. So now let us talk about multiple variable linear regression. So the equation will be y is equal to theta 1 x1 here 1 minute x naught plus theta 1 x1 plus theta 2 x2, so on till theta n xn. Theta is nothing but your coefficient. Okay. Here let us write theta naught here, no problem. So can you visualize this using your plots in your computer? So how many dimensions will this equation have if I plot this? Can anybody tell me? N dimensions, right? So do you still agree with me that we have to use graphs from tomorrow to solve your problems? No, right? So in multiple linear regression, what you will do is 1 minute. Yeah. what you are going to do here is you are going to differentiate this equation with respective theta naught to theta n. Okay, so this will be a long process, and for visualization is impossible for multiple variable linear regressions, right? So we'll be using gradient descent. In the same way, we are going to differentiate your cost function in the same way that I've taught you about in linear regression. Everybody understood? Instead of plots, we'll directly differentiate the equation with respect of theta naught, again theta 1, so on till theta n. And for every that differentiation, you're going to find the values of cost functions. Okay? Yes or no? Everybody understood till here? So there is a small mistake I've told you in this session. Can anybody tell me what it is? Yeah? Can anybody tell me a mistake that I've told in this session that is related to maths? No one? What are you studying? Engineering first year, second year? Third year, okay, no problem. So the mistake is y is equal to x square or x square plus c is not always a parabola. Okay, it may be like this, right? It is better I show you here. Yeah, the parabola can also be like this, right? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes, right? So then why did not I tell that earlier? So okay, the thing is, till now what we have observed in machine learning is between the slope and cost function, the graph is maximum 90% of the time always a parabola. Got it? It is always a curve like this, a two-dimensional curve like this, not like this. Okay. So what is the problem when your curve is like this? There are two minimas. This point is a minimum, this point is a minimum, and this point is a minimum. So how can you find your global minima here? You're going to divide your graph or your equation and find the local minimas in all the equation, and the minima which is the least cost function will be your best fit value. Got it? Understood everybody? Yes or no? Yes or no? I need answers. Yes? Yes? Good. So let's go back here. So is the session interesting till now? Okay, I'll repeat it. The thing is, the graph between 1 minute. I think I've closed. I'll repeat that again. The thing is, the graph between the cost function and your slope and your constant will always be a parabola. Okay. So if if it is not a parabola, what you are going to do is you are going to dissect your equation or example like dissect this plot for your visualization and find the local minima of each batch. You're going to batch it up and you're going to find the local minima of each batch, and the best local minima will be your final minima, like final cost function. Got it? Understood, Manaswini? Manaswi? Okay, got it? Good. Let me go. Let me draw one thing. Let's take this. Let me draw a graph here. Okay. So the points here. So yeah, let us assume this is our this is our data set, y-axis and x-axis. So everybody understood the session till here, right? So what regression are you going to use for this? For this plot or this data, what regression is the best? Linear regression, right? Yes or no? Yeah, we only have one feature, and the best fit for this is linear regression, right? So let me draw this. So let us assume that this is the best fit and we are going to use linear regression for this. So I'll also draw a separate thing here. Tell me if this is better or not. Yeah. So this is linear regression and this is polynomial regression. So which one are you going to use here? Linear or polynomial? Why? Why not linear here? Why not linear? You shouldn't see, yeah, it fits all the points, that is correct, but you always have to trust your cost function. So linear cost function will be higher than the polynomial cost function, right? So what is the equation of polynomial? Y is equal to x1 plus x2 square plus, let us write theta 1, theta 2, here theta naught plus x1, sorry, here we have theta naught and x bar 0 plus x1 power 1 and theta 3 x cube and so on. So yeah, so sometimes there is also a possibility to use a polynomial function, right? Yes, right? Okay. So everybody understood linear, polynomial and multiple variable linear regressions, right? So what does your data come under? Linear or multiple variable? Your project data. Multiple variable, right? Good. So I'll just discuss last two topics and we can just end this session today. Okay, 1 month. Okay. There are two parts that we have to. So we have two problems during fitting our line into the data. Yeah, Q&A I'll be having after finishing this. Overfitting and underfitting. So first I'll talk about underfitting. Okay, underfitting is a problem where you don't properly fit the line into the data. Got it? Got it? There is a better option than the line that you have given. Okay, understood? Underfitting? Yes or no? So overfitting. let me talk about overfitting here. Overfitting, let me just draw a graph. Now let me, okay. So this is our data, okay, and this is our line, and this is our best fit line for this data, first best fit line. And let me draw other thing here. Let me just change the color. So can this also be a best fit line? Best fit curve. This is 2. So which one will you prefer? The first line or the second line? I need answers. First line or the second line? Second. Sumit, why first line? Can I ask you? Why are you choosing the first line? You can see clearly that the second line is having the cost function, right? Okay, okay. I think some people might already know what overfitting is. So the thing is, when you fit your curve too well into the data, what will happen? So what will happen is the dimensions will increase. With increase in dimensions, guys, just give me a second. So with increase in dimensions, uh, it will be harder to differentiate, right? So differentiating y is equal to mx plus c with respect to m1s and c1s is okay. But what if we have 20 dimensions? It will be harder for our algorithm to predict, right? The next part. So even you fit this, the next part, it is very hard for our gradient descent, or it is just time consuming more. Okay, got it. So the thing is, sometimes it is better to go to the first line. Okay, so overfitting is nothing but if we fit our line too well into the data, so the problem arises with the more dimensions. The more the dimensions, it is harder to predict. So everybody understood, right? Yes or no? Yes or no about overfitting? Good. Okay. So is there any machine learning topic you want to tell me about right now? Not the algorithms. Did I miss anything? I don't think so. So let's start a Q&A right now. So, so anybody with your, let's start a Q&A. Yeah. Any doubts? You can just ask me now. Overfitting and underfitting, choosing. 1 minute. Okay, first let us go to Manasvi. She asked like what to what see when a data is overfitted, it is the predictions will be off. The to the previous data, overfitted light may be maybe having a less cost function, but from the next part it will be harder to predict and the error will be increased. Okay. If you have Adarsh, if you have completed the project, you complete if you completed your Node-RED UI and the project, just start documenting your project, and I'll just update you on Slack what to do if you've completed your project. Okay. So yeah, multiple linear regression and random forest. It all depends on your cost function, which to use. Okay. Ria, understood? If your random forest regression is giving you less cost function, you can select that. if you're getting the same predictions, Mayank, just check your code in your IBM Node-RED. Just try to take half of the columns off and just try to do that, okay? Or else you can just ping me directly in Slack. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Charan. I'm your mentor. Okay, I forgot in the starting. Yes, 1 minute. Okay, yeah. Okay. So there is no specific others. There is no specific template. You, by intuition, you can just find a reference on online. It just has to be professional. That's it. Okay. Extra tree regressor. There are many regression. See, linear regression, polynomial, and multivariable are not only. There are many regressions and classifications. If we have time after finishing all the sessions, I'll talk about the other regressors. Okay. You don't need auto Node-RED for auto AI, Naveen Kumar. Okay. Deploy your. Okay, okay. I think we are going to technical things here. So yeah, any doubt from now, you can just directly ping me in Slack. The last 2 days, I was just a little bit busy and I was not able to reply to everyone. But from tomorrow, I'll be able to answer your every queries. Okay. Okay. Let's end the session here. Okay. The session was informative, right? Yes or no? Or maybe. So this comes under regression or classification. Yeah. Your answers, will it comes under regression or classification? No. Okay. Okay. Yeah, there will be more sessions on the theories. Okay. First, after I think you'll be having a session again. Okay. So if you are familiar with coding, you can just Naveen Kumar, you can just directly code. If you are coding, there is no need to create auto AI. Okay. If you are coding, you can just directly create your project and have an Node-RED web UI. That's it. Okay, I'm ending the session, guys. Any questions, just ping me on Slack. Okay, thank you. Bye.